Last week I was walking down the street, I was with my mother dealing with some medical stuff and we had a little free time, some downtime. And as I walked past a store that was kind of esoteric spiritual alternative, I saw a sign that caught my attention. They do tarot readings.
Ma'am, I'm blind.
Will I find love again? I'm a Sagittarius.
It was very cold, we had nothing to do, and since I'm a very curious person, I like to learn about all kinds of things, learn and experience things.
Wait, handsome. I want to tell you something.
I stay open to new experiences, even if they don't match my beliefs. We're a bit rushed.
We're a bit in a hurry.
No, wait, let's see what he says.
So I said, well, this could be a good experiment.
But how can the future be in the hands, man? It's in the cards.
I'm going to get my cards read and see what happens. I knew that many of the people who do this kind of thing basically feel you out, get information from you, and confirm what they sense might be in your life and in your personality. Among other manipulation techniques that we'll mention later. I'm not saying that everyone who does this is deceiving, scamming, or has bad intentions. There's no doubt that's what happened. Since I knew they usually try to get information, I decided on my attitude for this experiment. As a good evidence-based psychologist, well, you have to avoid contaminating the experiment. And if normally I'm a reserved, quiet, not very expressive person who sometimes seems like a robot, especially if I'm in environments where I don't feel comfortable, well, in that session I kept a poker face the whole time. Without expressing absolutely anything that could give clues, and without confirming or denying the bait she was throwing at me, you'll hear it soon. Because she herself encouraged me to record the session so I could refer to it later. Anyway, out of respect, caution, and privacy, I'm going to distort her voice. The thing is, given my total neutrality, laconic responses, and lack of expression, I think I put her a little bit, backed her into a corner, and things became even more obvious and grotesque. She typically uses manipulation techniques. I won't keep you in suspense any longer. Let's listen to this tarot card reading and let's analyze all the techniques she tried to use to deceive me, to manipulate me, and to make me leave thinking, oh my goodness, she got everything right, she knew everything about me. About my past, my present, and what's coming for me in the future.
Past,
present, and future.
Let's do it. So that you can start noticing on your own and train that Sauron eye, these are the manipulation techniques that will be used the most throughout the session. First, reading based on probabilities. Based on the information he has just by seeing me, like my age, my gender, my appearance, the fact that I'm using that service, he can already infer many things that are likely for someone like me. Like, for example, having had failed relationships in the past, or being at a stage in life where you're looking to settle down and commit. That I'm already working and not studying anymore, that maybe one of my grandparents has passed away, that maybe I'm in a bad emotional state, which is why I'm turning to her. All of these are things that are highly likely for a 30-year-old woman who goes to a tarot session. It's just a matter of statistics and common sense. Second technique, the Forer effect. It consists of giving descriptions so general that anyone can feel like they apply to them. For example, you've had difficulties in the past, you've had a hard time, you've had some disagreements with someone.
Because I also see a big fight.
Who was the big fight with?
There are many changes coming in your life. Third, asking questions disguised as statements. You'll see it in the session, but many times she gives me a prediction or a reading, but in the form of a question. This way, it creates a kind of ambiguity. And if I say yes, wow, she got it right, that's amazing. But if I say no, she was simply asking me. Usually, a person who doesn't realize all this wouldn't just say no, but would correct her and give her more information. That's something I'm very careful not to do. So when you correct her and give information, they later use it as if it was something that came up in the cards. Fourth technique, throwing out many options very quickly so that one of them fits. And because she says it so fast, it seems like she named your exact situation. For example, she once asked if I work, have a job, or am in charge. She never says what she sees in me because she sees nothing.
Ma'am, I'm blind.
Instead, she throws all the possible options at me. Working, not working, being an employee, me managing someone. Fifth, reshaping the narrative to suit herself. When she describes the meaning of a card and it doesn't fit my story, she shamelessly gives the card a completely different meaning. So, of course, she's never wrong because that card symbol is very versatile. Sixth technique, flattering me. You'll see, but everything she says about me is super nice. I mean, she paints me as a being of light. She never points out any flaws or defects in me. Seventh, taking advantage of any little nuggets of gold I might reveal. As soon as she gets relevant information, especially if it has emotional impact and a hint of vulnerability, she builds the whole narrative with the cards that confirm what she already knows about you, adding details that are easy to infer. Imagine that, for example, if you tell her that you have lost a baby, obviously she is going to talk to you about sadness, pain, something unexpected, emptiness, fear of the future. These are the main techniques she uses during the recording. A few more will come up. Let's take a look.
Hello, good evening. Morgana is listening to you.
Okay, what's the name?
Claudia,
Okay, and what's the date of birth?
November 2nd, 1995.
6, 8, 10 days. In numerology, did you know that?
I thought it was 2. I don't know why.
Do you want a 2? Yes. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
What's your name, honey?
Chris.
It's asking for my date of birth to find my sign and numerology number. The receptionist said she's a tarot reader, astrologer, and numerologist. I guess her resume justifies it because she charged me $50 for a 30-minute tarot session. And mind you, her schedule is full, according to what the receptionist told me.
All right, Scorpio.
Yes.
Like me?
Ah, look.
Yes. You can record the reading if you want.
Yes, I started recording, thanks.
It's better, because then you can just let things happen. But when something comes up that sounds familiar that you've heard before, then you go and press the button to check it out to see it. And it's really good for remembering.
As you can see, she herself invites me to record the session. It's not something I recorded secretly or anything like that.
Normally what I do. Since we're at the end of the year, it's also really good. But anyway, I do it all year round. But at the end of the year, it's really good because there's an overview of the coming year. And all year long,
And this is where the magic begins. But not tarot magic, the magic of manipulation.
Magic Barras, Secrets of the World's Greatest Magicians.
She tells me to record the session because what we're doing is valuable and special, and it will help me in the future. She also mentions she's a Scorpio, like me. All of this is meant to create a good connection, good rapport, to build trust and good feelings with the person in front of you, so that whatever comes next, you'll value more positively. Here, I discuss a technique from my book Es Manipulación y No Lo Sabes, Feigned Affinity. This is something that's done a lot, for example, in sales with clients. Before interacting with someone you want to make a good impression on, someone you want to create a good feeling with or get something from, you look for common ground. If there aren't any, you just make them up. I'll read it to you directly from my book. People tend to be more easily influenced by and view more positively and as closer to us those with whom we think we have things in common. And the thing is, we mistakenly believe that if someone has had similar experiences to ours, similar tastes, common values, they're going to have good intentions. As social animals, we perceive greater safety in those who are similar to us because they are part of our clan, even if only symbolically, and clan members help each other. She's a Scorpio just like me. This reading is special. She lets me record since something useful will happen. She won't deceive me because if she planned to, she wouldn't allow recording. All of this could already prime me to interpret everything that comes next as productive, useful, and appropriate.
So don't cross your legs or arms. That's so the energy can flow.
Don't cross your legs, honey.
Here we see that some instructions and rituals are starting to be introduced. Don't cross your legs, keep your hands apart, and still, take a deep breath, cut with your left hand, not with your right.
With your left hand.
I don't know about tarot. Maybe this is part of what is usually done and it has its explanation, its logic, but from a psychological point of view, this could be used to influence the person.
Claudia, a Scorpio. Good sign. I can't say no. Claudia, a Scorpio. And Claudia, we want to know about the present and the future. Well, whatever comes up. The past always comes up because a minute ago is already the past. Okay, with your left hand, make a cut to the left.
First of all, by following orders, by doing what the other person tells you, it already puts you in an asymmetrical position where you're obeying the authority figure, the one who knows. You are letting yourself be guided. Secondly, all of this forces you to be much more focused, because everyone tends to cross their hands or legs when they're sitting. I myself have my legs crossed right now, and I just realized it. So, of course, having to pay close attention to your hands and your legs already puts you in a position of a lot of concentration and focus. And this is always a very key guideline when we want to make someone suggestible. And even hypnotize someone, capture their attention. Notice in movies where hypnosis appears, it's always with an object that you have to watch from side to side. But anyway, both the feigned intimacy and these suggestive rituals are possible manipulations. I'm not saying they are because I don't know this person or how tarot works. Maybe they do it sincerely with conviction and it's just part of their way of working. But from now on, we're going to see strategies that are clearly manipulations and attempts to deceive. The reading begins.
You leave your energy. It's a card that at first seems pretty good. Because in the sense that the Wheel of Fortune shows up for you this year. What's coming for you, maybe with more difficulties and more... It talks about energy because you're a person with a lot of energy. But here there's an excess of energy. But normally things usually turn out well, so it means it's going to be a year with a lot of changes. A lot of changes, many. They're fortunate changes, usually 180-degree turns.
The reading already starts with an emotional hook. A good future is coming. Of course, everyone likes to hear that good things are coming in their future. But it also introduces right from the start the famous Forer effect, giving general descriptions that anyone can relate to. Because that happens to everyone. Who doesn't have difficulties in life? Who doesn't feel tired sometimes? Who doesn't have things that don't turn out the way they want? Especially if we put it in the past. Of course, the present is short, the future is unknown, but the past is vast. I'm 30 years old and she knows that. Besides the way I look, it's because she asked me my age. It's obvious that in 30 years there will have been some difficult moments. The point is, if you say to anyone, I see that in your past you've had to deal with difficulties. Things that didn't go well, discomfort. You've suffered, but now good things are coming. Well, everyone has bad things in their past they can point to, and also good things. And of course, everyone will have good things come their way, just like bad things.
The King of Pentacles is reversed.
They're all upside down. Flip the deck over or sit here yourself.
We tend to dwell on the bad things that have happened, but hope good things will come. Also, how curious that I use a word that's extremely ambiguous and common in these kinds of practices. Changes. It tells me that changes are coming. Of course, everyone experiences changes. Life isn't linear. By the way, notice that my answer is always, So I don't guide them at all, so I don't give them any kind of information, and so everything they communicate comes from their own techniques. At most, sometimes I give them a little smile, or some gesture so that I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable either. I was in an experimental mindset, trying not to influence anything, and to see what would happen there so I could analyze it. But I didn't want to make the person feel uncomfortable either. I have to say that I didn't think about making this video until a few days later. I mean, I didn't go in there thinking about recording it and making a video. I was just going there as a personal experiment. At this point, I still didn't assume it was going to be a scam. I was still calm, open-minded, listening. I was careful not to give any information. But I wasn't thinking anything bad about her either, or judging her, nothing like that. But anyway, the point is that for now, anyone can relate to what the cards have said. Let's continue.
Well, there was a little bit of a sudden argument. A breakup. Are you feeling bad right now?
No.
Again, you ask someone if they've had any argument, any breakup, any falling out, and they're going to say yes. We are social beings. We have partners, friends, family, work, colleagues. And anger can happen at many different levels. Anyone you ask if they've had any of this recently, well, they're going to start searching their mind for something that fits that description. I said no, and I did this on purpose. So she could see that giving me generic descriptions wasn't going to work for me. I wanted to see if that way she'd give me something a bit more precise. She also asked me if I was feeling bad. I told her I'm not feeling bad, and I understand that might have thrown her off quite a bit. Because generally people who turn to this often do so because they're feeling bad. So, well, she goes back to generic descriptions.
Better, because the Tower can mean many things, but sometimes it's unexpected things that come to you. Unexpected, you don't see it coming. But actually the change is positive because the star comes up.
The Tower can mean many things, you know? I don't play along. So she suddenly changes the subject. She told me it was something bad, that it meant anger. But since I tell her no, what she does is protect herself from her mistake by changing the meaning of the card on the spot. What 2 seconds ago was anger or a breakup, now are unexpected positive changes.
Because you're working at your job. And you run everything.
Yes, I work for myself. In case you missed it, it says, you're working, you have a job, you run everything. In a second, he mentioned the possibility that I might have a job, that I might be unemployed, that I might be subordinate, or that I might be in charge. Here I said, okay, I'm going to give them something, some information to see if this starts to be useful. So I said, yes, I work for myself, but I didn't specify anything else at all.
You run everything, okay? And maybe this is your mind, your head right now. In the sense that you have everything to organize. The tower is a card that represents unlocking. What happens is that it's good because it's a card that says it has to rain for the sun to come out. In other words, it means that you have to make changes. A lot of changes.
And since I'd already told them I work for myself, they obviously drew on everything associated with an entrepreneur. You have to make decisions, your mind is overwhelmed, you have to make changes. And notice how the Tower card is still something bad, but it's also something good. It's useful for anger, for feeling bad, for blocked businesses, for heaviness, for good changes, for beautiful futures, and you'll see that it also applies to my father having passed away. It's a multi-purpose card. Honestly, I could have gotten great sushi with those 50 euros.
Do you work with other people? Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have employees and so on.
Then she starts talking as if you've had meetings, like she talks about communication. Maybe it has to do with the staff. That there might possibly be changes in the staff.
I laugh so I don't cry. Do you work with people or do you have siblings? This opens up the possibility that the cards and readings are focused on work or personal matters, the two areas of anyone's life. It's like, no, I work on my own, but I don't have any clients, suppliers, co-workers, employees, or anything. I'm a cat's butler.
His favorite dish.
Who doesn't work with people in some way? I say yes, join in. He replies, of course, I see meetings and communication. There might be changes in the staff. Wow, I never thought that by working on my own and having employees, I would have meetings and communicate with them, and that there would be changes in the staff. This is incredible. Everything comes out about work.
Right now? Right now, for the moment, yes. For the moment, yes. Now we'll see what else. Because it can also talk about more things, you know? Like relationship issues, arguments with someone in the family, maybe not getting along very well. Well, it's like there are different points of view, like there are disagreements.
I ask her if everything is about work, since I only shared work-related info and could already tell the reading would focus only on being self-employed. It was my way of saying, come on, tell me something about my personal life, something of your own, without me telling you. So by asking her that, what she understands is that all these changes, conflicts, and communications she's talking about, I'm not identifying them in my work life, but in my personal life. So what she does is like a kind of emotional fishing net. She casts it wide open until something fits. No, this could be about a partner, family, friends, not fully agreeing with someone, misunderstandings, different points of view. Again, a super broad description that can't be proven false, because who hasn't had a misunderstanding with someone at some point? If I had been vulnerable or had some conflict, here a whole avenue would have opened up to build on. If I had arrived shaken up by a conflict with my family, by a breakup or whatever, from that point on, everything that came up would have seemed magically spot on, like she'd guessed it. When in reality, it's simply that I gave her content that's very easy to pull from and infer logical things. We've already spent a third of the session, 10 minutes, and she still hasn't told me anything. Just that I'm communicative, that I'm a Scorpio like her, that changes are coming, that I've had a hard time, and that at some point I didn't get along with someone.
Your father and your mother come up, both of them come up too. They are the people who have cared the most, well, as parents usually do. Yeah, it's nothing unusual, right? They'd be worried about the situation.
Inside, I was already labeling myself as scammed.
You're so lucky in love.
Okay, thank you.
And then here comes the spectacular moment. He tells me that my father and my mother are people who have worried a lot about me. And yes, my mother has worried a lot about me. But the truth is that in my personal case, my father is very far from that description, which is quite unusual compared with the vast majority of cases. We can have better or worse parents, but in general, they are parents who in one way or another care about their children. And in every family, something has happened that has worried the parents. In my case, he slipped up a lot, but I kept a neutral face and just said, to see if he would keep talking about it and keep getting everything wrong.
Here they both appear together as well, watching. It's like they've moved on from the past. They've been there, they've paid a lot of attention, they've been on top of things. They've been there, paying attention to everything that's happened.
She also says my parents are both there together, watching me, and that they've always been on top of me. My parents separated when I was little, but my father also passed away 10 years ago. So it was a bit strange for me when she told me that both of them are there together, watching me and worrying about me.
In the future, like I said, in the near future, in the more distant future, you have some pretty good changes coming up. Because you got the star, the world, and the sun. So it shows you have some pretty good years ahead. It talks about moving on, about closing chapters.
We continue with that happy, ambiguous, hopeful, rewarding future, and a past and a present that anyone can relate to.
It's a long period going back about 7 years up to now with a new one opening up.
7 years.
It's also a long stage going forward, like about 7 years ahead as well.
It's common for them to mention the figure of 7 years because it's a long enough period for there to be a significant life change, a change in personality, a life crisis, and so on. Anyone you tell about a 7-year stage will be able to find some explanation in their life story to frame part of their life as a 7-year period, whether it's because of one factor or another.
7 years of abundance will be followed by 7 years of famine.
It's a card that puts everything falls into place. And things come your way. Because there has been a loss in your family, a grandparent or someone.
Recently?
No, it seems like it was further in the past. It was in the past, but not that long ago.
No, so it's not far at all.
It's distant, huh? Distant is when you've lost your grandparents.
No, my father.
Okay, but it was years ago.
It's the Forer effect the whole time. He asked me if I've had any losses. Who hasn't had some kind of loss, especially by the time you're 30?
Someone close to you died recently, right?
Yeah, my father and the rabbits.
It's very unusual to be 30 years old and have all 4 of your grandparents still alive. I answer her like, recently, as if to say it doesn't really fit. And then she goes further back, but in an ambiguous way, of course. Saying, no, a distant past, but maybe not that distant. It's just amazing. And she says to me, a grandparent. Of course, we all have 4 grandparents and we've all lost at least one at some point. So to show her like, look, this isn't working. You're not getting anything right.
She is a wonderful woman.
Yeah, she's quite attractive.
I said, okay, I'm going to give her information that completely contradicts everything she's told me. And I said, no, my father.
Look, he's right next to your mother.
Well, they're really separated, so...
Well, not in spirit. In spirit. I'm a widow and I don't have a husband, but I know he's always by my side. The soul doesn't die, it's always with us and with you too. That's why the tower is there too. It really caught my attention. Well, from above they're telling me, look there, it's been a tough time.
And here what she does is adjust the narrative and give a forced alternative explanation to justify the guess that my parents are together watching me. She tells me no, it's that they're together in spirit. And this is something she'll do again later when she asks me if I practice any art. Since I tell her no, then she lumps anything else into what counts as art. Are your parents together? No. Well, they're together in spirit. Venga. And so, since I've already given her the information that my father passed away, which is relevant, emotional, and has a significant impact on my life, she ends up spending the entire session on it.
The reality of a loved one is, well, it's irreplaceable. And so those are wounds that you always carry with you, even if they heal. How old were you, young lady?
When he died, 19.
Okay. And you? Do you have a partner now? Then you would be this son right here.
He tells me obvious things. It's grief, a loss, you can't replace a loved one, it leaves wounds. Honestly, I was already getting a bit tired at this point. That interest and experimental curiosity were almost fading away. I was already a bit in learned helplessness mode. I even considered telling him, look, let's stop here, because I was already getting tired. So I was like, look, I'll give you more information and we'll pretend this is working. So I told him, yes, look, I have a partner and my father died when I was 19. Here's some information. Do what you want. Be happy. She was thrilled because she now had the entire past and future narrative set. The son is my boyfriend?
Your wheel already appears in the middle of the past and the present, marking the past as those strong changes in your life.
This moment is already intense. Listen, really, I think this moment sums up everything.
Did he die of illness?
No, in an accident.
The chariot came up. First I got the devil, and then right after I asked you, the chariot came up. Which would be what happened. Okay, here your partner shows up.
Well, he was on foot, it wasn't in a car.
Well, whatever. The point is that from here on, the chariot hasn't moved forward.
Oh my God, seriously. She suggests that the cause of my father's death was illness, which is how someone in their 50s or 60s usually dies, statistically speaking. And I say no, it was an accident. And of course she says to me, this is what the chariot card represents, the car, which is how the accident happened. She replied, girl, seriously, you've got some nerve. And I say to her, no, my father didn't die in a car accident. When we talk about accidental deaths, the most common thing is for the accident to be a car accident. And since these people rely on probability and statistics, she tells me that the cards say it was a car accident. When I mention my father died in an accident, people usually ask if it was a car accident, since that's common. I say no. And then the same thing happens with the chariot card as with the tower card. Suddenly it changes. So, of course, if she guessed the car thing, it's magic, it's divination, it's clairvoyance. But if she doesn't guess it, the symbol changes again or becomes broader. And then the chariot goes from symbolizing the car, which is how my father died according to her, to generally talking about accidents and unexpected things. She gives a vague explanation that it means something else and quickly changes the subject to distract from her mistake.
Well, the car can also be more general because sometimes you can see exactly what it is. But I don't want to get too deep into this side either because it weighs on me, it hurts, you know. So I try to push it away, but this part keeps coming up all the time.
This card isn't important, it's just recounting what happened, but I don't want to discuss it or go into details. Let's focus on how that event affected you. This approach not only shifts focus from his mistake, but also makes him seem sensitive, empathetic, and trustworthy, as he says he can't discuss it because it's too difficult for him.
Okay, here your partner shows up. I see that they're a pretty lively person. What sign are they? Aries?
Cancer.
Good, I like that because that's Cancer. The Cancer sign and Scorpio are the perfect couple.
Huh? I didn't know that. Here, try to guess the sign by throwing out a guess. If you get it right, you'll be amazed. And if you get it wrong, it's fine because right away it totally makes sense to them that it's the sign you said. Of course, Cancer and Scorpio, great combination. Yes, it fits. It's basically a risk-free guess. If I'm correct, I score points. If not, I just correct it immediately.
On the other hand, Strength speaks of something negative or something intense that has happened. Well, it's like a crash, a strong blow in life. And Strength also tells us that it's something inevitable. That can't be forgotten. Even your father tells you life is meant to be lived and you have to live it. You have to keep moving forward and fight for everything we want. That's why your father's message is live because life goes on, keep going. And you have to live life. You have to follow your dreams and live it. That's what it's for.
The accident was unexpected. You didn't see it coming. Thanks for the information. Your father says to live life and make the most of it. Thank you. Now she's playing medium with my father too. Honestly, I'm already tired and angry having to explain all this. It really takes a lot of nerve. On one hand, I felt kind of bad exposing this because in the end it's a person even if she distorted her voice. But as I keep seeing all the manipulation and deception techniques she uses and how she's probably manipulating and deceiving a lot of people in vulnerable moments, because a lot of people turn to this when they're not doing well, when they're in crisis, when they don't understand what happened, when they need answers after a loss, they come in a very vulnerable state. And the calmness with which I see her twisting things, exploiting them, it's really awful, really awful.
Sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to realize that's not where you want to stay. Sometimes the Strength card might have held you back. It's speak. Here I see it as a bit of a symptom of helplessness. In those moments, it's like keeping it to yourself, keeping everything a bit inside. Maybe not letting out enough of what you felt. And then it also comes out in the way your mother is, how your mother also tends to suffer a lot, right? The woman.
I don't know, suffering?
You know how she experienced it, right? Without expecting it, that's the energy you get, well, when you don't expect it, things.
See how she takes advantage of the little information I gave her the whole time. Imagine if I had opened up completely and told her everything. I told her my father died accidentally, but she keeps repeating the same thing for minutes. This changed your life, caused you hardship, affected your mother, and you hit rock bottom. Then she even asks if my mother suffers a lot. Of course, there's that totally reasonable hypothesis that if this woman's husband died accidentally, then she must be traumatized, depressed, or in a really bad state. Someone who suffers a lot is a very vague way to describe the state a person can be left in after something so horrible happens to them. I think when I told her my parents had been split up for a long time, she thought my mom was alive and my dad was dead, not that they were already separated before. And again, I don't pay attention to her. I don't confirm or deny whether my mother is someone who suffers a lot. So, what does she do? She changes the subject again.
Is your partner very passionate? Yes. Well, I'm telling you yes, because Cancer is usually a passionate sign. Do you have any projects? Do you have projects? He has projects to do.
Yes, we are active.
He's describing a highly intelligent person. He not only talks, but he acts. And he's talking about communication. I don't know if you've decided to live with your partner in the future.
We already live together?
And either move them to a new house or move them to a new place.
We don't know.
For now, not yet, but for next year, as you can see, since there are so many changes coming, I wouldn't know. One of them could be... And pregnancy? Do you want to have children?
No. As I've already told her, I work for myself, so it would make sense for my partner and me to have projects together. I neither confirm nor deny it, and I just say yes, we're sexually active. Since I give her nothing to work with, she just moves on. It's so obvious. I don't know how she isn't embarrassed. She asked me if we live together, if we want kids. Totally understandable and valid questions if I'm a 30-year-old client. She keeps asking about my relationship so she can say one thing or another. She's just being shameless.
You get the cross, since it's the past part, more difficulties. Maybe a previous relationship you had didn't work out. But it also says that the one you have now is like you were destined to find each other.
And again, we're relying on obvious things, the Forer effect, and probability reading.
And how many women do you see for me? For you? None. But you haven't read my palm. There's no need.
I see that in the past you've had relationships that didn't work out well. Well, if they had worked out, they wouldn't be exes, right? It's unlikely, very unlikely, that someone who's 30 years old doesn't have an ex, someone they've been with, and things just didn't work out. I started off very calm, but as I see the nerve he has, I'm getting angry all by myself here, you know?
The key is also a very good card because it's like a magic wand. Like I say, I want this, I have it. And here is your commitment to living together. And you haven't celebrated or had a wedding.
No, but we are engaged.
Yes, good things should be celebrated. The most important thing is that you love each other, of course, to be together. That you love yourself and that you feel comfortable. You are a person. I mean, both of you have a big heart. You are both very close. And your emotions show that you are also both very sensitive people.
Well, since I already confirmed to her that we're engaged, now she just goes on and on praising the relationship. That we're soulmates, that we're meant to be, that it's the perfect union, that it's destiny. Why? Because the session is ending. She wants me to leave super happy and optimistic and grateful. She wants to confirm my own ideas about deciding to marry someone. And because obviously if I'm engaged, it's because I see my partner in a positive way. So it's hardly a prediction when she tells me it's a positive choice and relationship. More than a prediction, it's wish fulfillment. If you're already happy in your relationship, hearing someone with mystical authority say it's a good choice connects you more to the reading because it matches what you're thinking and feeling at that moment. Few people choose marriage if they view their partner negatively.
Do you do any painting or anything like that?
No.
Maybe you still have it hidden and it could come out. Because it also talks about an artistic side or being connected with nature, and above all, it says that you are very hypersensitive.
Car accident card mode and the thing about souls being together. Are you sensitive? Do you paint? Do you practice any kind of art? No. Well, art can be many things. It could be going out into nature, or maybe you have it hidden inside. Anyone getting their cards read wants to hear they're sensitive and empathetic. And everyone likes some kind of art or something, or listens to music, or likes movies, or likes to read, or likes to go out into nature. And if you don't like any of that, Well, we can always say you have it hidden away, put on hold.
It also talks about the past because it was coming over here. Maybe a past where you've also had some difficulties also in love with other people and other relationships more than, well, the truth is that sometimes it just hasn't moved forward. Here you have the star that speaks of this new love, of your love and finding the love of your life. And you are two people, I'm telling you, you get along very well. You get along very well, even though sometimes he's very different in some ways, but in the end you agree on things. And it speaks of a very passionate person with a good soul. Maybe he also comes from a somewhat toxic relationship. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Because it shows up. That's why it shows up like the path of love has been more difficult for him.
Continuing the soulmate story, everything is wonderful, confirming the beautiful future ahead of me. Of course, she also guesses that my partner has also had previous relationships that have failed. Wow. She also says that you knew about. So if she's right, great. And if I don't know, it's just that I don't. Plus, look at what she tells me. This is really tough. She tells me, after all the rats and all the snakes, you show up. I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but there are some studies that have found a correlation between narcissistic traits and people who turn to these kinds of readings, fortune-telling, tarot, horoscopes, and so on. I'm not saying that if you like horoscopes, astrology, and so on, you're a narcissist. I'm talking about a study that found a correlation between narcissistic traits and turning to these things. Why does this happen? Well, it makes sense because in these people we can find an excessive focus directed toward themselves. My life, my personality, my traits, I'm like this, I'm not like that, what's going to happen in my life? Also, seeking a lot of confirmation for one's own beliefs.
Ma'am, I honestly don't believe in that.
I see a lot of success for you in what you do.
Believing too much in what people tell you just because it fits with what you think. And of course, in this case, if for example they tell you that your boyfriend's ex-girlfriends were rats and snakes, but that you have arrived and you are the key and you are the sun and you are whatever else, well, more than one person might love that. And it can also confirm their ideas.
Rats or snakes have always come up, like the partner was the snake, you know. So, but the good thing about him is that he's a brave person who moves on, goes to something else.
He looks like the rider.
Yes, he looks like him too, huh? Yes, it happens to me a lot with the cards. Even if they're different people, they look like the card. And sometimes I think they change with the person. I'm telling you, sometimes I look and I say, how can it be that they look like one person or another who lives with you?
At this point, I was already like, I don't care about anything, do whatever you want. I tell her yes, that it's very nice that my partner looks like the one in the card. I mean, I'm just like, okay, let's play your game. And here, well, she gets even more excited, giving the cards a sort of magical aura or some extra authority, saying that the cards change depending on the person who looks at them. It's like saying, no, I'm just a mere interpreter. The ones speaking here are the cards. Everything that happens here isn't my subjectivity, it's the work of this object that's magical. And that tone of surprise, right? Like, wow, how can it be that the cards change depending on the person who comes? It makes you feel like you're witnessing something really special, like something magical, mystical, something that many people want to experience. That they're not just satisfied with the material or the mundane, but everyone is looking to experience something different, something mystical, something magical. Theatricality in the service of suggestion.
It might refer to your father since you're young and says you're now happy. Here it talks about not repeating patterns. Like I said, a pretty good stage is coming, especially in your relationship. Unlike the stone one, which is what was in the past, well, whatever the reason, for many things, whether it's love, a harder life, or things not going the way you want, whatever it is. It's like having found the person you're meant to be with, the perfect person. I'm telling you, on top of that, Scorpio and Cancer are two people who have always been said to be the ideal couple.
She keeps bringing up the hard past, the wonderful future. I imagine this is like a pattern she applies to all the readings she does. She brings up my father simply because she knows about him and what happened.
As for work, the paths are open. The key opens all the paths for you. I don't know if you like animals. I don't know if you've had any pets before. Well, this is an open path. And in principle, this could be the announcement of the celebration, because here the birds they announce something about a couple.
About the animals, it's the same. Everyone likes an animal or has had a pet. And well, everything she does with the cards is confirmation bias. She interprets the cards in a way that fits the narrative I've given her. If I had given her a lot more information about my life, this interpretation would be much more epic. The path, the mountain, the birds that announce an event, what could it be?
I think everything will work out so they can have the celebration and event.
Very well.
We have to hold celebration ceremonies. When things happen between two people who love each other, love is the best thing in the world. It's what moves mountains, what moves everything. And the good things, the bad things come on their own. You can't celebrate them. But the good things, if you can celebrate them, you have to celebrate them. Well, that's how I see you. That's how I see you. It's really good. I'm telling you, you're going to have a wonderful year. Truly wonderful.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's very nice because you're going to do things you're going to be very calm and you're going to do things you haven't done before.
As you can see, I was telling her yes, that it's great, thank you, and that I want to leave. The ending always has to be emotional, optimistic, positive, encouraging, and flattering.
You're going to have a lot of happiness.
Because then you have to go to the counter and pay 50 euros for 30 minutes of nonsense. Anyway, with tarot readers who act in bad faith, there's usually a mix of cold reading, generic phrases, constant reinterpretation, flattery, and appealing to something higher so you don't question it. They don't read the future, they read your reactions, and from there they build the story. I repeat, with tarot readers who act in bad faith. Because I'm sure there are people who believe in it, who do it differently, who never try to deceive or manipulate anyone. In this case, I think it's pretty clear what happened here. And well, as always, if you want to learn more about manipulation, I'll leave the link to my book, Es Manipulación y No Lo Sabes, in the comments. And that's it. I hope a lot of people watch this video and at least get back the 50 euros that were the worst investment of my life. Bye.